A warm welcome to this short introduction to the IT simulation Ford Fantastic. And congratulations for showing up. This already gives you a lead because Ford Fantastic is a competitive simulation which will accompany the entire course. At the time of takeover, Ford Fantastic has 14 attractions and on average about 5,500 visitors per day. In the recent months, the customer satisfaction has averaged around 75%. The park is generally opened in the summer from April until September. The average turnover per visitor is 16. The gaming board on the right side shows the park fully developed. However, at the beginning, you will only find 14 attractions established. Additional attractions may be purchased depending on retained earnings of previous rounds. In other words, the profits that you gain in one round can be invested into additional attractions in the next round, increasing the overall appeal value of your park. The business model behind Ford Fantastic is very simple. Try to maximize the number of visitors per day. In the simulation model, three factors account for 1/3 of the simulated number of visitors per day: the appeal of all attractions, the availability of the attractions, and the moving average of the customer satisfaction. If you multiply the resulting visitors with the average turnover per visitor, which is 16, you will get total sales of the day. Let's take a look at the roles that are available within the simulation. Players taking care of the operating business role are responsible for the financial controlling tasks. The control room has to operate the team's monitoring system. And finally, the technical support staff has to deliver the solution codes in case of technical failures. Subsequently, we will introduce the general solution process in more detail and explain the particular involvement of each role in it. The control room staff is operating the master control room station, which is the only system available to the team. Control room may be regarded as a visual communication center, which allows operations to monitor whether all attractions are working smoothly. In case of interruptions, system messages have to be forwarded to either technical support or operating business, depending on the nature of the message. Being the central communication device, responses from other team roles may also have to be entered by control room players. This is a screenshot of the monitoring device, which has to be operated by control room. The colored dot beside each attraction indicates the operational availability. Green indicates 100%, whereas red indicates a complete breakdown. Yellow and orange are intermediate levels. The day counter shows the current day and the remaining days until the end of the round. At the bottom on the right side, the profit development graph is plotted, indicating your current budget. The smiley displays the current level of customer satisfaction. If it drops below 50%, the smiley starts crying. Suffice to mention a status that is not desirable. Finally, the activity control panel reveals information about the selected activities and their respective efficiency indicator. We will provide some more information on this issue once we come to the operating business role. During the simulation, you will notice new messages appearing whenever any of the attractions changes its level of availability. For failure messages, a solution code is required to solve the issue. It has to be provided by technical support. Let's have a look how that works. Besides the failure message, technical support needs the internal code of the affected attraction. The internal code is documented on the gaming board card, which should be placed near the control room system. A failure in Fort Fantastic is resolved by a solution code, which the technical support role has to identify using the technical support manual. The solution code always consists of 3 × 3 characters. The first 3 characters, called technical code, originate from the translation table, which can be found on the first pages of the technical support manual. The next 3 characters result from identifying the affected component. For that, one has to browse through the manual. The component tables are ordered in alphabetical order by the technical code. The last 3 characters stem from answering a specific question using the reference in the last column of the component table. Once the right code is identified, it needs to be reported back to control room in order to be entered into the system. Let's take a look at the process in more detail by focusing on the failure that occurred at Cinema 4D. The contents of the technical support manual follows the steps of the solution process. You may want to note at this point already that there are separate component tables for infrastructure in Chapter 4. The infrastructure will be introduced later. Once the technical code is identified, one needs to browse to the relevant component table in Chapter 3 for attractions or Chapter 4 for infrastructure. With the help of the message text, you should be able to identify the affected component and thereby the respective component code. If the failure message is not clear as to which component is affected, technical support can go back to control room and opt for cause analysis, which may reveal additional information. The last column of the component table contains a reference to the list of questions and the question number, which needs to be answered in order to get the restore code. Each list of questions consists of 20 questions. The respective 20 answers can be found on the back page. All that needs to be done is to select the right answer from that possible 20 options. Once the solution code is completed, with all 3 elements identified, it has to be entered into the system. Before clicking the Solve button after entering the solution code into the Solve Incident field, make sure that you have selected the right message line. Otherwise, the system will not be able to relate the solution code to the right failure. If the solution code is correct, the operating condition of the attraction will go back to green. If it's not correct, a penalty of 15,000 is imposed, and the system will not allow you to enter a correction for 5 days. In case of the unlikely event that your team is not able to find the right code, you have the possibility to buy the solution for 75,000 after 30 days of the first appearance. The operating business role is a reference to the finance, purchase, and personnel department. Players have financial data available and can take action by selecting activity cards. This is an example of an activity card. Over the duration of the simulation, approximately 100 cards will be made available. An activity is implemented by entering the card number into the purchase field on the right side of the control room system. After selection, the system calculates an efficiency indicator ranging from -10 to +10. The value of -10 would result from an activity which is very costly and has a negative effect on operational efficiency. A value of +10 indicates a minor investment and a tremendous effect on operational efficiency. As an example, you can see activity number 10 and activity number 56 selected. Note the efficiency indicator in the last column. Here we can see a copy of the Attraction Master Data Table, which is available with Operating Business. It shows operating costs, capacities, and appeal values for all attractions. The gross profit in the last column may be interpreted as the daily margin that the respective attraction returns. Please be aware that the sum of appeal values of the 14 attractions available is 70. We are coming to an end. To summarize, Operating Business selects activities, Control Room forwards error messages to technical support, which returns the solution code. This is a list of charges and fees which apply within the simulation. In a negative profit situation, the system will automatically subsidize a team. Loans need to be paid back at the end of the round at an interest rate of 10%. Please respect the mentioned rules in order to provide a fair competition.